I've been sharing a little bit about my dream theme park resort, the dream Disney parks, and I've already talked a little bit about the employment side and the resort itself. Today, we're going to talk about my castle park, our Magic Kingdom. One of the things that's been really fun about this is just going crazy with the dreaming. So as I've been working through this suggested idea of what would your dream park be, it's really kind of grown from a park into a whole resort area. I talked on another video about the shopping and how many parks and some of the resorts and other things. So now I'm actually working on the park itself. And so today we're going to talk about the very first park, the center park, the one that everybody talks about. So I call it my castle park. If it was a Disney, it would be a Magic Kingdom. I do have a map that I kind of hand drew, so you may recognize this. This is kind of the resort itself, and you can see you've got an adventure park. I'll talk more about that in another video. You've got the studios. This is my Disney Village, downtown Disney shopping area. We talked about the transportation and the resorts. So today, we're going to talk about this little guy here, the Castle Park, the centerpiece, the one that everybody thinks of when they think of Disney. To use it as a model for this, I'm actually going to jump over into Google Maps, and we're going to use Disneyland Paris, because it's easier to start with something that everybody knows, and then kind of build from there. Now, there's a few reasons I like Disneyland Paris, and I'll talk about those. But of course, the very first thing I'm going to do with my park is utilidors. One of the things I found working at Magic Kingdom, as well as at Epcot, those utilidors are huge. They're major benefits of working at the parks, getting around, avoiding the crowds, and everything else. And if you haven't seen my videos about the utilidors yet, well, you need to go check those out. But they are a must. Not only would those utilidors be running underneath the castle park, but they would actually have tunnels that would go over to the other parks, as well as to the Disney Village, the shopping area, my international shopping court. Those utilidors are a major part of this from the employee side, and I'll actually probably do a video separately on the utilidors for the resort and why they're so important. But yes, it would have utilidors underneath everything there. The very first thing you would have is the hotel. And I mentioned this in the other video. I love Disneyland Paris's hotel entrance. And you walk through the hotel to come in. I love that idea. I think that was an amazing thing. And after you go through the hotel, Main Street's going to be pretty typical of our other main streets. One of the things that I really, really like with Disneyland Paris's Main Street is when you come down and into the park, Disneyland Paris does something that is just fantastic. One of the things that they have is they actually have these side walkways that go down the street. It makes it so much easier so that everybody doesn't have to be on Main Street. I do also think that Disneyland Paris's Main Street is just a little bit more vibrant in color. It just pops a little bit more than the American parks, which I really like. It just makes it kind of nice. The arcades are basically these long walkways that go all the way down Main Street on the sides. And so you can actually avoid the crowds, and it makes it very nice when people are coming in and out. Magic Kingdom at Walt Disney World sometimes opens up backstage walkways. No need to do that here. It's already built in. There's a few other things that I do really like with Disneyland Paris's layout as well. Just the way they have the lands laid out. Main Street wouldn't change very much. I would have the open-air arcade like at Disneyland and a couple of those things. Central Plaza, I love the castle. Absolutely love the castle. Have the flowers and the prettiness and everything. My castle would look something much more like this. It's just gorgeous. It's just so pretty. Disneyland Paris's castle blows the rest of them away. You've even got the underground part and everything. So absolutely Disneyland Paris's castle, though. It's just a beautifully done area and absolutely love it. So that would be kind of my centerpiece. The other thing I really like with Disneyland Paris is I like their Frontierland. Big Thunder Mountain is in the middle of the rivers of America. It's awesome. I honestly think that is the best one out there. I would make a major change. I would make this Tom Sawyer Island, turn that into, kind of like Disneyland and Magic Kingdom with the raft. And I would actually put a major stage right there. And then this end of Frontierland, which at Disneyland Paris is there. There's not a whole lot. This would become my Fantasmic stage. You've got to have Fantasmic. I love Disneyland's version and the atmosphere of it. So I would build a little bit of an amphitheater. Not an overdone theater like its studios, because I think it loses some of the atmosphere with that. I would still want it to feel like you're in the park, but I would definitely build in a lot of seating that Disneyland doesn't have. Fantasmic would run here. We would have a golden horseshoe. I missed the review at Disneyland and Magic Kingdom. We would have a golden horseshoe review. Absolutely have to have it. Family friendly, fun. The steakhouse, I think, is a great thing. Big Thunder. Their whole Frontierland at Disneyland Paris is amazing, and it's big. Fuente de Oro, we would have a good Mexican restaurant with the tacos and nachos and other good stuff. A good barbecue. They've actually got a great selection here. Then what I would do, coming up into this area, at Disneyland Paris, this is their Adventureland. I would move Adventureland back up a little bit, and right up in here, I would put in a New Orleans Square. We would have a spot that would have Pirates of the Caribbean. And hey, it's a dream park. Which version of Pirates do you do? Well, let's do Walt Disney World's entrance and then Disneyland's ride. But then we'll go even better than that. Not only will we have that version, we'll also have the Shanghai version with all the special effects and everything. Hey, why not two pirates? It's my dream park. And it would be a ton of fun that way. Not only would you have the pirates, you would have the Haunted Mansion. I love the setting at Disneyland in the middle of New Orleans Square. I think it's just gorgeous. We would put in the shopping area, make it a little bit bigger, give it a really nice New Orleans feel. Somewhere probably between the two areas as well. With Frontierland and New Orleans, there's kind of a little pocket. I would probably throw the Country Bears, maybe actually keep them in Frontierland, and then Splash Mountain will kind of sit in between. The one thing I struggle with New Orleans Square is I want it on the water. So the other thing I might do is I may take all of this and I might shift it up a little bit and then put New Orleans Square there. And actually the one thing you could do if you did that is you could actually have a walkway come off of Main Street and into New Orleans Square, because it could blend that way too. So maybe do that, in which case then Haunted Mansion could stay there. It would still be in New Orleans, and we put pirates somewhere along in here. Brainstorming as you go. Country Bears would be there. I know a lot of people don't like Country Bears, but it's my park. So we have the Country Bears because they're cool. Adventureland would be up in here. We would have the Jungle Cruise. That was actually one thing that was really missing from Disneyland Paris. Although I understood why it wasn't there. But you've got to have the Jungle Cruise. The Treehouse would be cool. I loved Disneyland's Indiana Jones would be up in here. Absolutely got to have Indiana Jones. The Tiki Room. The Tiki Room is a must. Indiana Jones, the Tiki Room, the Jungle Cruise. Those would all be up in Adventureland, which would be up in this corner of the park. And we would add in a few other things as well. We'd have a couple nice restaurants in there. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention with the Pirates, you got to have the Blue Bayou restaurant. The atmosphere in that is amazing. Disneyland Paris did a nice job with their Captain Jack's, but Blue Bayou is an absolute must. That's that side of the park. New Orleans Square, Frontierland, Adventureland. Then you get Fantasyland. I loved how big Paris's was, but I would actually expand it even more. Fantasyland would take up this whole large section. Imagine taking Disneyland's Fantasyland, everything in it, expanding it out so you have more space, taking in bits and portions of Walt Disney World's Fantasyland. So you would have everything. I mean, honestly, Fantasyland would end up huge. You'd have Peter Pan. You'd have Snow White's Scary Adventure. You'd have Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. You would have Dumbo and the Carousel and the Mad Hatter's Tea Party all right there at the entrance area. You would have the Storybook Land canal boats and Small World. I love that they had those and the Casey Jr. train at Disneyland Paris. I would Probably keep them in a similar setup there. The canal boats would have the narrators like at Disneyland, and a little bit longer ride. It was neat at Disney Paris, but Disneyland just has some charm about it. Got to have Monstro go through Monster's mouth, and you would have all of those in this part of the park. I love the labyrinth as well. That is amazing. And then this spot right here where the Fantasyland station is, I would move the station over here a little bit, and I would actually have this go back, and this would be Our Guest. So the Be Our Guest and Belle's Castle and all of that would be right in here, and just kind of expand that out and make that a must. Gotta have the Be Our Guest. That was just an amazing part of Magic Kingdom. We'd also want to have the Little Mermaid. So we'd have to fit Ariel in here somewhere along the way and try to figure out how that is going to work. The Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. We would want to get that in there. And of course, the Matterhorn. You got to have the Matterhorn. And so by the time I start doing that, I have expanded Fantasyland down into this region. And this is actually something that would take a major change. There would be no Tomorrowland. There would be no Discoveryland. This whole part of the park here is totally different. So all of this would actually be in a different park. It wouldn't be in my Magic Kingdom. So no future stuff. Instead, Fantasyland would probably expand down into here so I could get everything in with the Matterhorn and the Seven Dwarfs Mine Train and all of that. I might have a submarine voyage. I do really like that. I'm not positive on that one. The monorail would not run in the park because it kind of fits into the Tomorrowland stuff. And so you would not see the monorail there. No Autopia, no driving cars. Gone with those. The other thing I would do, though, with this area where Tomorrowland is instead of Discoveryland, Tomorrowland, this would be my Toontown. This is be where I would add in Roger Rabbit's Cartoon Spin, the Mickey and Minnie Runaway Railroad, the Barnstormer would be in here. Your character meets, Mickey, Minnie, Donald, Daisy, a lot of those would be in this area. It would be themed like their home. It would bring the best of all the attempts at Toontown in. This would be my character's home, and the cartoons come to life. Now, there would be other meet and greets that would be up in Fantasyland. All the princesses would be up there, and those kinds of things. I would try to have a few others in other parts of the park, but really, if you're wanting to meet characters, Fantasyland and my Toontown would be the places to go to meet the characters. And if you want to go ride rides, there'd be other stuff. Toontown will get developed here, and it would be a good Toontown. Think Disneyland's, but expanded and added onto, so you could have these other rides. You could have nice meet and greet areas. My characters in the park would have a mix of assigned meet and greet locations and free roaming. And one of the things that I would definitely be doing with those characters would be a little different than what Disney does. If I was at Disneyland and it was a Disneyland park, let's just take Mickey for example. Right now, if you go to a Disney park, you can meet Mickey at the Magic Kingdom. You can then see Mickey at the parade. You can meet Mickey at Epcot. You can meet Mickey at Studios. You can meet Mickeys everywhere. I would change that, and I would actually go back to something that Walt believed in that each character would be in one spot, one park. So Mickey isn't going to be at all my parks. Mickey is here at the Castle Park, the Magic Kingdom. It's the only place you're going to see him. Now, if you want to meet Mickey, great. Because he's so popular, he would have one place, and we would make arrangements to be able to let everybody meet him there. He would be in the parade. Of course, I've got to have a parade. I will have a parade. And so during the parade time, Mickey's not meeting because he's in the parade. And there would be signs posted to let people know that. And we would kind of go back to that feel. So if you want to meet certain characters, this would be the only place to meet him, would be the Toontown area. And same thing with the princesses. There's other characters that would fit into other parks, but the other parks would not be character parks so much. Although when I do start talking about the adventure one, you'll see that it's still very character intensive. My characters, some of them would have fixed meeting locations. Others would have the freedom to roam around. I loved at Disneyland that the Mad Hatter got to go play where he wanted to, and the Evil Queen from Snow White. It added so much atmosphere to the park to have the characters free to go. So the ones that are in overwhelming demand, they would be kind of stuck at a meet and greet spot like Mickey. But Pluto and maybe Goofy, they may have some free reign to be able to wander. Or maybe have them set in spots for a time and then free to go other times. Now, of course, if they're wandering, they would have attendants taking care of them and monitoring and watching the crowd. They could still take pictures, they could do autographs. But the idea is to kind of get them out and allow them to be who they are. And I'll do probably a whole video on character interactions and the good, the bad, the ugly, and how we would try to make it the best possible thing we could. And fireworks. Absolutely would have a nighttime fireworks spectacular. Now, what it would look like, it would be flexible to change. You could definitely have a mix of Wishes. I loved Wishes. The soundtrack was amazing. Fantasy in the Sky was also amazing. The most recent Happily Ever After was a ton of fun. I have no problem with changing up the evening fireworks show and stuff. It would have to have good fireworks, though. They're almost getting away from the fireworks in exchange for projections, and I would want it to be something that could be enjoyed almost anywhere in the park. Yes, obviously the castle is a great spot to see it, but if you're in Fantasyland or Toontown, I still want it to look and sound good and not have them feel like they're missing out by not being on Main Street. I would tone down the projections a little bit, except maybe on the castle, and add more fireworks in the soundtrack. So that's kind of the big spectaculars there. There would be a couple definite theaters. I haven't talked about those much beyond Fantasmic, but there would be some shows, there would be entertainment. Main Street's got to have all the street entertainment all around the park, honestly. Frontierland, you know, your old-time quartets. So we would have spontaneous entertainment to keep things lively. That's kind of an overview. I know that there's a lot of things I'm missing in there, and I can go into more detail later. I will do another video later on about the characters and where they are and how they would work, because there's so much there from my time working with them that I would want to do and make it the best for the characters and the guests in all circumstances. So look for that video coming up. We've got 2 more parks to detail as well, so those will be coming up in the future. So are you having fun with this series? Do you have suggestions? Do you think there's things I should do a little bit different or better? Or do you not like what I'm doing? Let me know. I would love to hear your feedback. Please tell me in the comments below. Thank you so much to my supporters, my patrons. Several of them were the ones that kind of pushed this idea, so you can blame them as well. But let me know your feedback. I want to hear it. Thank you so much for liking the video, subscribing, and for watching. God bless. Now, of course, the very first place. Hey, there's a live blooper for you. Absolutely Disneyland Paris's castle. Absolutely my phone buzzing with messages. We will just clip that out. Their hub. It's just a beautifully done area. And oh my gosh. Would you stop? Come on. I'm recording. This is my life. Okay. Kind of lead back and then where am I going? Ah! The cat runs under my foot, dog runs under my foot. Yes, we're going to record and we're going to kill animals. Okay. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to know about contact information, fan pages, merchandise, and more, please be sure to check the description below. If you enjoyed this video and you'd like to know when I have new ones, well, make sure you hit that subscribe button right up there. And if you want to see another one of my videos, well, I've got a great one for you right here. And a huge thank you to these wonderful people here who support me on Patreon and with YouTube memberships. They get behind the scenes information, special perks, and more. If you'd like to know more about that, well, make sure you check that button right there. Thank you so much.